Welcome back to Garage Misadventures, folks. Today I'm going to whip together some quick and easy floating shelves, floating bookshelves for a friend. I bought this is just from the hardware store, and I bought the Select Pine, which is about double the price of normal pine, but as you can see, it doesn't have many knots, it's a lot cleaner, and that's going to save us some time on running them through the sander or doing much finish work. And the person I'm building them for wanted them stained, so this will take the stain a little bit better. We're going to use a gel stain with a polyurethane over the top to try to get a good look. So follow along and we're going to make some bookshelves. Alright, so what's happening here, I just cut all my 5-foot pieces for the main shelves. This is going on either side of a fireplace, and the fireplace is not in the center of the wall, so we want to have 3 shelves on either side. So I've got a 3 5-foot shelves, and then 3 that are just under 3-foot shelves. So I've cut all my 5-foot pieces. I used a stop to make sure that they were a consistent length, and I'm going to move that stop so I can do the shorter shelves now. And I'm using my offcuts here from the 5-foot pieces to make my shorter shelf. So it worked out with 8-foot pieces that we had just enough to do all our shelves with one board. Table saw, we're going to rip a miter into each one of these shelves, and then both sides of our front facing pieces to join them together. Alright, so now that we got all our pieces cut and mitered, I'm using Titebond 3 and a 16 gauge nail gun to assemble the shelf. And this is what it looks like, and hopefully if it turns out correctly. The way I decided to do the end caps was I chamfered a piece and put it on the end, and I think it looks really good. There are multiple ways you could do that. You could have inset it inside, or even mitered it all and put it, mitered in so it's flush. That would look really good, but because we're trying to build these pretty fast, that's not a very time efficient way to do it. But if you want to get carried away, that's something you can definitely do. Now that assembly is complete, I'm going to spend a little bit of time with the sander and kind of knock the sharp edges off of them and give them a little bit more of the feel we want. together with a nail gun. I'm going to go through and use some wood filler using Timbermate. It's a water-based wood filler that is supposed to take stain. So I'm going to go through and fill all my nail holes and any little gaps or anything that needs to be filled with this wood filler. We've filled all of our nail holes now with wood filler and we've let it dry, so we're going to do a final sanding with a higher grit, and then we'll be ready for stain. So this floating shelf project has been in the works for a while. We got all the materials and I put the shelves together before all of the stay-at-home nonsense. But now all that's lifting, and I kind of lost motivation in there because I couldn't go over and install them during that, but now I can. So I got out here, I got the sanding done, and Mary's here with me today, and we are going to try to get them stained so we can go over to our friend's house and install them.
And I said we should get it done, so that's what we're doing.
Because we're using the softwood to get a nice even tone with stain, we're using a Varathane gel stain, which is a little bit thicker than a normal stain, and it does really well on the softwood. So this color is Hickory, and it is turning out beautiful. Really like it. So that's a tip for using trying to stain when you're trying to save money on some on your wood. This gel stain works really well for these softwoods. Okay, so we got these stained. Really like how the color came out. It's pretty awesome. But the gel stain we have to allow to dry for 8 hours before we put a top coat on, and we are going to put a urethane top coat on. So we'll be doing that tomorrow because it says a minimum of 8 hours. So we'll be back tomorrow to put a top coat on and see how it comes out. But really love the color so far.
Yeah.
All right, so Friday we got our shelves all stained, and yesterday was Saturday, and I came out 3 times and applied polyurethane, just spray can polyurethane in a satin finish at 4-hour intervals. Now that that's all cured and dry, I'm going to kind of knock off the roughness with some 220 grit sandpaper, and then we'll put a final coat of our polyurethane on, and then we'll have to make our hanging cleats so we can install these. Okay, so tonight we're installing these shelves. As you can see, I've got the first one up, and the way I'm attaching them to the wall is just with a 2x2 cleat. And because we're in the basement, I don't have good studs behind this wall to screw into, so I'm actually using these snap toggles with 3-inch bolts that came with them. So they're 1/4 inch diameter 3-inch bolts. I'm using about 4 of these for these longer shelves. They claim they can hold up to 265 pounds in 1/2-inch drywall. This is 5/8, so hopefully we'll have plenty of holding force. This one feels very sturdy. And then I'm screwing down to the top of my shelf, so I do have some exposed screw heads in the top of the shelf, but they'll be covered with books and the items on the shelf. So it provides a really nice clean install, and it's very easy. If it was in a normal framing environment, I would probably just use 3.5-inch lag screws, but I didn't have studs behind this to attach those to, so I had to come up with another method. So short of a little cleanup, we're finished hanging our shelves. They're pretty sturdy and make a great addition. Nice floating style. Hopefully now you can see why we made them in the arbitrary sizes that we started with. Because this fireplace isn't centered, so we've got them on either side here with equal gapping. Anyway, hope you enjoyed watching us make some shelves, and thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing, like our video, let us know what you thought. Thanks.